Welcome, those of you just coming in. Hello, welcome. Okay, so playlist is Yuletide Yin, 2 blocks for your practice tonight. I think this is us. Okay, guys, I'm going to start my playlist again, Zoomies. So if you want to pop it on, you can. We'll go back to the beginning. Cool. Amazing. So, good evening, everyone. We've got a couple of blocks of practice tonight. My one has been really lovely doodle pad for Theo by the looks of it. The 2 blocks, those of you at home, 2 blocks as well. And just to let everyone know, actually, I said last week there won't be a class on Zoom next week, but there will be. Ella's going to cover. So if you still want to get your yin fix and you're not coming to Winter Retreat Day, Ella will be teaching a lovely class on Zoom. So there will still be a practice. We don't have lots of practices in December because it's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve for some of them. So we're going to make the most of it when we can. And this week's theme has been balance. And I've taught a lot of more yin style practices in my flow style classes. Those of you on Zoom who have been coming along will know this. And so tonight is Yangy Yin. So it's a balance of both the yin and the yang in a yin style class. Some of you will kind of have a little idea of what that might mean. Maybe some of you are like, oh, what's going to happen now? But the idea is to build heat in the body, to feel intensity in lots of places, and also to find some softness as well. So you have the balance of both. Is that someone else coming in? Oh yeah, we've got someone else. A little late arrival. Okay, so we'll start though. So everybody wants, so Zoomies, make sure you've got a couple of blocks, those of you that just came in, just 2 blocks is all good. And we're going to start in child's pose. We're actually going to start in quite a soft pose, but we are going to start with the blocks. So we're going to bring the blocks out in front of us. So big toes touch, knees are going to go wide. Sorry, I didn't give you 2 blocks, did I? Sorry, yeah. In fact, I'm going to need to get some blocks for whoever's just come through. So you take my blocks. Sure, yeah. Oh, Jen's on it. Amazing. Yeah, you take mine. Pretend I've got blocks. We'll just imagine I have. Big toes touch, knees are wide. Arms stretch out in front, but forearms are going to rest on top of the blocks. So the hands might be over the top of the block, but the forearms are on the block. So the space between the elbow and the wrist is on the block. And then your forehead is on the floor. So this will elevate the scapula, the shoulders. It will create a bit more of a stretch in the upper body. When your forehead comes to the floor, you'll probably feel like the head actually feels quite heavy on the earth. Changes the sensation a little bit. Okay. So we're trying to have the hands over the top of the blocks, the arms stretched out in front. And we'll just separate the blocks a little bit so we have a bit of space for the shoulders as well. That's it, lovely. And relax the hands, that's it. Relaxing here. Beautiful. And the aim here of the shape is to try to sit the bum back towards the heels. So try and give yourself a bit of space to soften in. And we'll connect to the breath in this pose. So we'll take a few moments really to just bed into the practice, into our bodies. The wider the knees go, the better the breath will probably feel. So you'll feel like the belly is actually between the legs and that you have this bigger capacity for breath and that you can feel the breath then moving in all spaces of the body. So front rib cage, back rib cage, sides of body. As you inhale, notice expansion. Exhale to notice the gentle softening. And the body here is starting to gently wave in and out. Now, for different people, you'll feel this sensation in different spaces. We're going to use the blocks in tonight's practice to enhance every pose. And the breath will be our guide as well to help support, to expand. And as you just rest here in this shape, this first pose, allowing certain places in the body to unwind, to let go. When we think about yang in a yin setting, we are going to feel that heat, that building of the internal fire. And just taking 5 more breaths in this shape. We're not here for a super long stay. And in fact, in some of the poses today, you will feel like you, hopefully anyway, the aim is that you reach your maximum capacity and you're discerning as to when that is and where that is. Of course, I'm not going to hold you in a pose until everybody flops on the floor and doesn't want to do it anymore. But I will give you space to explore what your limit and level is maximum. And with that in mind, also trying to erase the part of the brain that wants to keep pushing, just for this moment at least, the one that wants to keep us moving forwards, going deeper into the shape. And on your next breath, gently let the hands come off of the blocks. Use the arms to support you, to walk back and sit on the heels for a moment, bring the knees in. Slide your blocks forward so they can come underneath your hands. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the bum to the sky to then walk the hands with the blocks underneath. Imagine I've got them underneath my hands so that you can stand in your forward fold. Spread the toes and let the hands rest on those blocks. Maybe your elbows or forearms rest on the blocks. And wherever you get to, we're just going to hold here and be in this forward fold. Now, a few different things happen in this forward. Really rise up in the lower back, the backs of the legs, and even the pressure in the head can feel like a lot. Those of us that might be working with stuffy sinuses or congestion in the nose, you can bend the knees, press the elbows into the thighs, and rest there, lengthening the spine rather than dropping the head below the hips. Remember, the blocks have 3 settings. To start them off on maybe the highest one, and you can always bring them down as you move through the practice. And we're trying to find stillness, trying to find holding here. As the time gently rolls through here, can you get a little heavier? Let yourself really drop in a little further. Notice where your body might reach maximum capacity. And just gauge the kind of pressure that you're feeling here. And we're staying for 5 more breaths. So wherever you are, tell yourself it's just 5 more breaths. Gently walk the hands, so take the blocks out to the side. Walk the hands forwards. You'll feel the length in the back of the body as you come all the way out into plank. Crawl the hands forwards into plank. You can keep the knees up off the floor or drop them down. Take a deep breath in as you load the shoulders above the wrists. And as you exhale, lower the body to the floor. Hug your elbows in as you come all the way down. Finding your back bend, press into the toes. Rise the chest as much as feels good. Be mindful the back might be a little sensitive. Exhale, push the bum back to the heels and tuck the toes under. Press firmly into the palms, really push the floor away. And instead of letting the hips shift forwards to go up, just keep the bum moving back and up into the sky. So downward facing dog. And then inhale to roll forwards to find that plank position. Ripple the spine all the way out. As you exhale, lower the body down. Keep a straight line through the body. So let the chest, chin, and belly come to the floor at the same time. And then inhale to find your lengthening through the front body. Exhale, curl the toes. Bum back. Push your hips right back and up into the sky above you. Down dog. Nice. Roll forwards. Keep that rhythm and keep the same flow going. Okay. You can lower the knees at any time to come through knees, chest, chin, rather than that full plank to push up. And just start to notice how the spine is beginning to kind of loosen the other way. Now the weather's getting a little colder as well. A bit of yang in our yin is going to help us to get the blood flowing. Help us to activate all parts of our body. You're just starting to feel that heat, and maybe this is where the discomfort comes in. Maybe this is where the body starts to tune into that different sensation, that sudden flow. Last time through your flow here. And all the way up and back. From downward facing dog is where we're going to float the right leg to the sky. And sweep the right foot to the outside of the right hand. If it doesn't quite get there, you can grab the back of the heel and draw the foot forwards. Toes are turning out, heel is in, hands are on the blocks. If your blocks are left at the back of your mat, you might take a little scoot back, grab them, bring them forwards. And so heel is in, toes turn out slightly. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. And if you feel like the knee, that back knee, sorry, that smoke is really drying out my throat. Roll the right thigh away, double up the mat underneath your back knee so you've got space in the left hip flexor. Hands to the blocks, forearms to the blocks. Get the blocks out the way, use the floor if that feels better. Drop the chin to chest. A little bit of steady, slow breath. Like this one. Steve hasn't got his sidekick tonight, Molly, so we're trying to find the space on the inner right thigh as well as the left thigh and hip flexor. And this one is really intense, and it gets intense really quick. So you might already be feeling from those flows quite warm. And then suddenly we've gone right into the hip, right into the leg. Unclench your back teeth, relax your face. And the more you can roll onto the outer edge of your front foot, the arch of the foot lifts, the sole of the foot lifts. You're going to find that that hip actually feels as if it's opening a little more. You can take some of the strain off of the left leg and off of the arm. Try and get your pelvis to sink down towards the floor. So that heaviest point of the body is allowing gravity and the weight of it to draw it down. Deep belly breath, soft face, riding the waves of the intensity that might rise up, either continuously or just every now and then. See if this evening you can meet your maximum. 5 more breaths for us to get there. And gently peel yourself back into a half split position. So it's the right leg is straightening, toes are pulling up. Push the bum back. It's as if you're sitting into a chair behind you. Pull the toes towards you. And then work in and out of that same pose. So forwards into your lizard lunge and then back. We're flossing out the muscle now rather than just coming straight out or dropping all the way back into the pose. We're just taking our time to move gently in, gently out. Until we're ready to tuck the left toes, bend the right knee, lift it back into downward dog. Between each side, just roll through one of those flows. So inhale, ripple forwards, find plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog, bum back and bum straight up. Left leg goes to the sky. Step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Again, if it doesn't get there all the way, bring the left hand behind the ankle, draw it forwards, toes out, heel in. And then find those blocks, bring them underneath your hands, your forearms. Let your left thigh roll out to the side, come down onto your elbows if that feels good. Hands are to the inside of the foot. You're trying to keep your body Your hands on the inside of the leg. You might notice that on this side there's a different sensation depending on where the tightness is in the pelvis. One side might feel like it's a little easier to come into than the other. Stick with your belly breathing. And see if you can sink in just a little further. Let the body get a little heavier. Maybe even walk the hands, the elbows forwards a little further. Bringing more length to the spine. Staying here for another 5 breaths. Really slowly, as you come up and out of the pose in a 5th breath, gently lean backwards with the sit bones, peeling the foot up so the heel's down, but the toes are back. And we're just going to take that half split position, that stretch through the back of the thigh. And moving in and out of the shape, so walking forwards. You can use the blocks under your hands as well here if you want to. And as you walk back and forwards with the weight, stretching, lengthening. And eventually the intensity of where we've just been will start to disappear. It won't be such a deep sensation, such a full-on sensation. And we'll curl the right toes under, flatten the palms to the floor. Slide it back into downward facing dog. And then as you breathe in, roll the body forwards to plank. As you exhale, lower to the earth. And as you inhale, find back bend. Roll back onto the floor for a moment. We're going to come into broken wing pose, but with the elbow bent. So we'll start with the right arm. Actually, we'll start with the left arm. We'll go left. So you might shuffle over to the right-hand side of your mat a little bit to give you space. Left arm's coming out in a straight line through wrist, elbow, and shoulder. And then bend at the left elbow. So you've got this 90-degree angle in the elbow joint. Right hand next to chest, right knee bends so the foot's in the air. And then we roll. We can use a block underneath the side of our head as we roll all the way up and over. Maybe the toes touch down, maybe not. This will feel way more intense than your usual straight arm version. Kind of the point. Very Yangy yin poses. So just find the place where you can be. And try to let the body sink into this as much as possible. So let your weight and gravity do as much of the work as possible. Use the blocks to support you where you need a bit more physical support, whether that's under the head or under the hand or wherever. And you're staying here for 5 more breaths. On your 5th breath is when you'll really slowly, when you get there, there's no rush to get there, you'll roll onto your belly and use the right arm to support under the forehead. And just leave the left arm as it is. Feel the fizzing and the blood flow coming back through the arm. You might start to move the left fingers, opening and closing the hand. And then moving the left arm down by your side, just moving through the elbow and the wrist a little bit more. We'll move over to the right arm. So you can, again, shuffle the body over to the left if you want a bit of more mat support and space underneath you. And those of you at home might need the space. So you might need to move across. Right arm straightens out, straight line through wrist, elbow, and shoulder again, and then bend at the elbow to create that 90-degree angle in the elbow joint. Left hand next to chest, left knee bends so the left foot's in the sky. And then we roll up and over as if we're trying to step the left foot over the right leg. And you might find that one side has more space. You might be here now thinking, wow, okay, the other side was a lot more open, or vice versa. Trying to relax the head either to the floor. If it's not quite reaching the floor, the block's great too. Your left foot doesn't have to touch the ground. It might kind of fly in space. And again, We're really just trying to use the weight of our body, that gentle tip of the scales, so that our pelvis rolls over. We're here for 5 more breaths. And taking our time to take those breaths into the right side of the chest. Toes go so deep into all of the space in the upper body. An amazingly deep stretch. And very gently on your 5th breath, you can roll back onto your belly, using your left forearm as your pillow. Feeling the rush of blood and noticing that sensation in your right arm, how alive that feels. The tingle and the feeling of rushing and energy and blood returning. And move through the right hand, the fingers, open and close the hand. You can slide the right arm down by your side, moving the elbow. And then from here, curl your toes under. Hands either side of the chest, underneath the shoulders. We're going to push up and back so that we sit to our toes. I'll turn sideways so you guys on Zoom can see as well. Toes are tucked under. We sit to the heels, sorry, not the toes. Toes are tucked under and we sit all the way back. If this feels really too intense, separate the feet slightly. Use your blocks underneath your sit bones so you have a bit more support there. You can you can stack a couple of blocks on top of each other. Otherwise, sit back, close the eyes, let the palms rest facing up or down on your thigh. And of course, this is like the fullest version, but I do want us to reach that maximum point. Maybe we haven't got there yet. Maybe haven't been maxed out at any point yet. Maybe now is the time. Of course, you're welcome to bring the hands to the floor if it's way past maximum limit. If you're sitting here and the intensity just feels like it's in overdrive. And you've got your blocks as well to support your hands if you want to. We're not here for very long. You don't need to be here for very long. Five more breaths. Leaning forwards into your hands and tucking your toes. Just let the tops of your toes and your feet rest on the earth as you drop the chin to your chest and stay in your tabletop position for a moment. Blood flow coming back through the feet. Notice the feeling in the feet, the urge you may have to scrunch the toes, but just leave them as they are. Leave the feet resting here on the floor. And then just turning sideways on your mat. So letting the feet hopefully feel a bit more reset now. Turn sideways so you're facing the long edge of your mat. Be on your hands and knees still. We're coming into frog pose. Something that is quite helpful for this is to double up the mat, or if you've got two mats, that's fine. And this will help to just support your knees a bit more. You don't have to do this, but it's my preference to do so. It might be yours as well. Knees come wider, wider than your hips, as wide as feels good. And then heels are either in line with your knees or slightly wider. So you create this frog position. From this position, we can use our blocks to support us under our forearms, under our hands. We can even bring a block so that it supports underneath the head as well. And the aim here is that you're not so far forwards that you don't feel any sensation, but you're not so far backwards that you're feeling like the intensity again is in overdrive. So you just have to find that sweet spot. And the best way to do that to begin with is just to move the hips forwards and backwards. Ideally, what you want is the hips directly above knee line. So it's not anything like child's pose, and the soles of the feet are facing back behind you. So it's the inner arch of the foot that's on the floor. You definitely want to find that place where you've got sensation. The knees might need to go wider. Or you might be at your point of maximum already. And try and walk those blocks or your arms out as far forward as you can to allow the spine to stay really nice and long. You might even feel like, and some of you at home may have cushions and things to do this with, but you might feel like your chest can almost come to the floor. You can really sink the body down into this. And so let yourself, if that feels good. Try to keep your heels out wider than your knees. Yeah, nice. And when you find that sweet spot of sensation, just hold and breathe. Hold and breathe. This may be where some of you reach your maximum point quite quickly. With every exhale, every, say, 3 to 5 breaths, really imagine that you are letting go and that your hips are allowed to get heavier. That you give them permission to sink down. And every, again, 3 to 5 breaths, let the knees slide out a little wider if you have space to go there. If you're at your maximum, that's cool. The chest get even heavier. Let it sink towards the floor a little more. 5 more breaths. Your 5th breath, really slowly return yourself back towards your mat, sliding your knees together. Just come and sit on your heels and close the eyes for a moment so you just feel like the energy moves back. In your own time, start to lay on your back. Come down and bring your blocks with you as you lay down. Bend your knees, feet flat to the floor, and just let your arms cactus out to the sides for a moment. From here, bring your right ankle onto your left thigh. Create a figure of 4 shape with the legs. And with your left hand, reach for the front of your right shin and then slide it all the way down to your ankle. So you're on the front of your ankle, okay? You can pick up the left foot from the floor to do this. Keep your hand here, locked on, and then dropping the legs over to the left-hand side, sole of foot to floor, knee to ground. It will be big stretch. You'll go as far as you can. Now, if you can't get all the way to the earth, slide a block underneath the foot and the thigh. So you land on something. Your right hand can stay out wide to the side, or for a moment, what it could do is come in and just gently peel that right thigh away. This is your yang element. You're active in trying to create more space in your body with a hands-on, light touch approach. You can let the arm come out wide again. So you feel the intensity of this twist. And then you've got an option with this right arm. You could leave it out to the side, palm face up. Or you could take it palm face down, behind your back, underneath your body, and actually pin the arm to the floor so you've got this shoulder opening. It looks a little bit like this behind you. So you've got the arm underneath your body, palm flat to the earth. Let your right thigh float away from you for another 5 breaths. And gently releasing the right arm from underneath you if it's there. And letting go of the leg as you come back onto your back and unhook the right leg. Straighten it up to the sky, so lengthen it. Move the ankle, roll the ankle in one direction and the other way, point and flex the toes. Right foot to the earth, left ankle on top of right thigh. Take a hold of the front of your ankle with your right hand. Lift the right foot off the ground if you can, and then draw the legs over to the right. The hand stay glued to your leg, and the left arm out wide for a moment, just as you settle into the shape. And then when you're ready to, you can use this left hand and gently press the thigh away, like you're trying to open up the hip a little more. And then if you wish to, you can wrap this left arm back behind you, underneath your body, palm face down, and wriggle it as far underneath you as you can. Imagine you're trying to get the left hand to wrap around the right side of the waist. And taking your deepest breaths here. You feel the body opening in this twist. Five more deep belly breaths here. The fifth breath, gently unlace that left arm and let go of your ankle, and then bring the legs back to the center. And hook the left leg, take the foot to the sky and roll the ankle in one direction and back the other way too. And then bring the legs down, straighten the legs all the way out, and take a block in your hands. So one last little burst of yang effort with our yin. And take the block above the head. You've got the block between the hands, above the head on the floor. You will build a little momentum in here. We're going to work with the breath as well. As you inhale, you're going to come up with the block, sit all the way straight up. And as you exhale, you're leaning forward to see how far you can either tap the block on the legs, so how far forward you can in your forward fold, or to even bring the block over the feet and use the block behind the soles of the feet. And when you finish your exhale, inhale takes you all the way, slow and steady, back down. As you exhale, to land in that long, straight position. Inhale to rise back up. Bring the block forwards. Let's say don't keep you on your toes. As you inhale, coming all the way back down. No one expected ab crunches in yin. I don't think anyone's ever done that. I don't think anyone's ever taught that. It's ridiculous. Don't even know why I thought it would be a good idea, but we are here and we're doing it because we want to get warm. Keep coming up and folding. And so what we're doing is we're not taking our body straight into Shavasana with no movement beforehand. We're taking our body there with lots of warmth, muscles active. The next time you come up, do it as slowly as you can. Imagine you're first of all going to try and push the block to the ceiling and go straight up to the ceiling rather than forwards. Straight up, straight up, straight up. And then you'll get really long in your spine. And you can find that fold as if you're trying to reach past your feet. You might notice each time the block's tapping a little further down the leg. As you roll back, same movement, you're going to come up and really slowly as you curl your spine, lay down. Try and lower as slow as you can, the slowest you've ever gone. Well done. We're going to go for one more. This time it has to actually be the slowest ever. It's the Guinness World Record of slowest lifting the block that anyone's ever done. And right here, we're going to win it. Coming forward as far as you can. Last time, stay with it. Trust the process. Let your body be in the moment. And all the way back down. Just because we're coming down the last time doesn't mean we're going to go really quick. We're actually going to go super slow. And then hold at that point where you're like, I really want to lay down now. I really want to lay down now. I'm shaking. I really want to lay down now. And then slowly let your body lay down. Well done. This is going to feel so much sweeter after that, I promise. Feel how your body responds to that. The same as it does in a big yin stretch. The intensity of pressure in the abdomen with the sweet relief of release instantly creates this warmth and this feeling of almost like the tissues, the tension is melting. Take on any extra layers because you might get cold. I know that right now you're probably not feeling that cold, but you will do when your body starts to slow down and realize that it's not going to be doing crunches on a Sunday night at nearly 8 o'clock. Because who on earth would choose that for themselves? No one. And just close your eyes as you settle back into the space. Let the breath deepen as you feel the back body and the earth beneath you. Deepen the breath. Allow your body to expand and soften, just as it has done throughout the entire practice. Breathing in space, exhaling excess. Maybe you even feel like you want to sigh, let the breath come out of the mouth. And maybe wriggle the fingers, the toes. Stretch the arms above the head. And hug the knees into the chest. Gently rock side to side. Rolling onto your left or your right hand side. And really slowly from there, bring yourself all the way up to seated. Bringing the hands together in prayer. The thumbs to third eye. And we'll seal our practice together this evening with a bow of love, honor, respect. Remembering that we are all connected. We are one. Namaste. Thank you. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Zoomies.